say this every week with the first topic, but this is the result I kind of expected from the game, just not the way I thought it would go. I definitely didn't see the Patriots having a shootout with the Cowboys. I thought the Cowboys would kind of come through and roll over them, but it was a pretty intense game, and the Cowboys could have lost very easily, but they didn't. They come out with a strong win. And let's look at the stats of that win. Dak goes 36 for 51 and gets a whopping 445 yards. There's 3 touchdowns, only 1 interception. Pretty good ratio there. CeeDee Lamb gets 149 yards, 2 touchdowns. One of those is the game-winning touchdown in overtime. And Blake Jarwin grabbed himself a 1 yard score as well. Zeke and Pollard were looking pretty good. Zeke rushes for 69 yards, and Pollard gets 41. Zeke also got 50 receiving yards. Dalton Schultz gets 79, and Amari Cooper got 55. Chauncey Golston recovers a Mac Jones fumble, and Cedric Wilson fumbles and recovers it himself, and Dak fumbles as well. Trayvon Diggs gets himself another interception. He gets a pick six, but he followed that pick six by getting burned for a 75-yard touchdown. So the duality of Trayvon Diggs, I suppose. Now we'll look a little closer at the Patriots. Mac Jones goes 15 for 21, 229 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Damian Harris rushes for 101 yards, gets himself a touchdown. Ramondre Stevenson rushes for 23 yards and grabs a touchdown as well. Kendrick Bourne gets 75 receiving yards and gets a touchdown. And Hunter Henry also grabbed another touchdown. Nelson Aguilar got 1 reception for 27 yards, a good little catch there. But he was 1 for 4 on his receptions, and he drops a pretty easy pass in overtime. Kyle Van Noy recovers the Dak Prescott fumble, and Kyle Duggar picks off Dak Prescott as well.
Yeah, so like you said, we both picked the Cowboys going into this game, but again, didn't really expect this to be the outcome. When I first turned it on, I'm like, okay, they're going crazy at the beginning. I mean, you had 21 points in the first quarter. They were going back and forth, real quick. And then over the next 2 quarters, not as much. Dallas scored 10 points. Patriots didn't score at all. And there were a lot of mistakes in between that really caused that to happen. You had interceptions, fumbles, mainly that play on the goal line where Dak looks like he got in, but they don't rule a touchdown. So then he tries again and fumbles. So it's like, okay, well, that kind of sucked. I think that probably was a touchdown the first time around, but they didn't say otherwise. And then you try to go back to the well again, fumbles over the line, and that kind of sucks. And so that was a missed opportunity for them. Also, you had the block punt, and like I said, the interception and fumble earlier. So just mistakes in the second quarter that really could have blown the game open, but instead, just had mistakes back and forth between both teams. From there on, third quarter, again, not really a whole lot. Dallas gets 1 touchdown. And then you get into the fourth quarter, back and forth action, all the way up until the end of the quarter. Dallas misses a field goal. So now they're still down. And then Mac Jones, he throws a pick. Trayvon Diggs, again, going crazy this season with so many interceptions already, leading the league, leading most teams, really, just as an individual player. And so he takes it back for a touchdown. And then immediately, it wasn't completely his fault. The safety was partially at fault as well. But immediately he gives up a touchdown. And that looked like a revenge play for Mac Jones. He looked like he was mad that they gave that up. And then they come right back and they get a good drive. And it's looking like the drive is going to not go anywhere at first, but they're able to get down, get a field goal. Mike McCarthy, once again, kind of being weird with his timeout usage and some of the clock management. I don't know what Mike McCarthy's problem is. Last year it was kind of just a throwaway year since Dak was injured. But now that they're winning a lot and the Cowboys are always on TV, they are starting to kind of look, well, not them, but he's starting to look bad. They are looking good, but he's starting to look kind of bad because he's getting exposed as a guy that just does not seem to know what the heck he's doing sometimes with his clock management. But it didn't cost him the team. But I guarantee that at some point they'll get to the end of the season. They'll probably win the division pretty easily at this point. I don't see Washington or anybody else in that division doing jack. But maybe in the playoffs or whatever, You know, your first game in the playoffs, I can see it coming down to the wire, and Mike McCarthy doing some dumb, dumb stuff and costing them the game. So he needs to figure out whatever the heck his problem is with that. But it didn't cost him there, like I said. Going to overtime, New England isn't really able to get anything in their first drive, and then they give it to the Cowboys. Cowboys go all the way down, and they're able to get a touchdown last play. And I mean, that's as good as you can end it because they could have just kicked the field goal there, because they could have gotten down and ended up getting a field goal, but they didn't. They got the touchdown there, and like I said, that's about as good of an ending as you can possibly ask for. You know, it's either way, regardless of what score they would have gotten, they would have won. But you know, walking off like that, exciting for the fans. And as Dallas moves to 5-1, I guess I have to admit, like they pretty much have proved me wrong. I didn't think they would be close to this good. It's not like the Patriots are amazing. They are definitely. I don't want to say fraudulent because I didn't expect much from them. I didn't think they're really going to go crazy this season, but Patriots are not that great. You still have to give credit to Dallas. I mean, they are 5-1, and they could be 6-0 because we both agreed after that Week 1 game against the Buccaneers they should have won. So I can't really say much about them. It's not like you know, it's the past few seasons where they've looked good, but they've messed up in some areas. I mean, they've just looked pretty much 95% good this entire season. You know, there's not really a lot of holes in their games, in their game. The defense isn't like 10 times better, but is considerably better because they were atrocious last year. So I just give credit to Dallas for how well they're playing. As far as New England goes, I really don't know what to say. I mean, if you have a rookie quarterback, I'm not going to act like Cam would be undefeated, but I think Cam probably would have gotten a few more victories just because of being that veteran presence. I mean, Mac is playing well, but I think Cam might have been able to get some more victories, and maybe that's why he should have kept him around before you let Mac take over the reins, as his team is kind of in a weird stage at this point because they might end up finishing like 7-9, or well, not 7-9 anymore, but like 7-10 or 8-9 or some crap like that. Kind of like they finished last year, and you're just kind of in a weird spot. You have your guy going forward, I assume, but the rest of the team, you know, you're trying to figure out the receiving core. It's sort of coming along, but it's still definitely not there. So for the Patriots, definitely, I can probably say that they won't be winning the division. The Bills should be able to run away with that, which is crazy to say after 20 years of dominance. But I don't think New England will be winning the division, and it's a very high possibility to be missing the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what you said, and I think I want to touch on the Mike McCarthy kind of time management things. You mentioned this could kind of bite them as the season goes on, especially as they get to like that first playoff matchup. And I agree, this is something that people can see. Opposing coaches are going to look at and be like, "Oh, okay, well, these guys are terrible at time management, and if we can, keep the game close enough and kind of mess them up, as Mike McCarthy makes some foolish things at the end of the game, then you got an easy win because you're the opposing coach makes an incompetent play." And so, yeah, I definitely think that this is trouble for them, and this definitely needs to be cleaned up. But like you said, they did win this game. It doesn't end up hurting them this time. They come out with a pretty strong overtime win, and I mean, yeah, they won in the best way you could win there because, like you said, they could have taken that field goal, but they do it in style. I mean, it was a very flashy touchdown from CeeDee Lamb, and he kind of waved off the defender who pushed him out of bounds afterwards. And so it's just a nice way to win with the crowd and everything. A lot more pleasing than a field goal. And yeah, I think the Cowboys are for real this year. I don't know about a Super Bowl team, but I definitely think a playoff team, a very good playoff team. They just got to clean up some issues. They've got some defensive struggles every now and then, and they've got the coach problems we talked about. But this offense and then overall this defense, they should be pretty good. This they're not going to lose that division. I can't see that happening at all. And as for the Patriots, yeah, I don't think they're going to somehow come back and take the division from Buffalo. Um, Buffalo's lost 2 games here, and I mean, they could have won. Well, could have won the last one they lost. That the other loss they had was brutal. But I definitely think that the Patriots are pretty much stuck to be kind of a middle of the pack team this season, which isn't necessarily a bad thing for what they have. They just need to kind of use the season to figure out what their team is going to be. You know, who do you keep? Do you keep Jacoby Myers around? Do you try to switch some things up? You know, what do you do here? They brought in Aguilar, they brought in Henry, they brought in Johnny Smith, and those haven't been the best payoffs yet. So just kind of look at what you have and see what's working and adjust the team as you go forward from this season. See where you land with this roster. Not a terrible roster, but not the best one either. So it's going to be an interesting year for them, and it definitely surprised me to see them perform this well against that Cowboys team. But it was very entertaining, and once again, Mac Jones kind of lifts some of my doubt about him. So great game for him, and also exceptional game for Damian Harris. That was great for him. I'm sure he's solidified his place here.